On April 14th, 2009, hotel guests were getting ready for bed when they heard 3 loud pops coming from down the hall. They called the front desk and a few minutes later, security arrived. In the doorway of room 2034, they found a woman unconscious, covered in blood. They called 911 and she was swiftly taken to hospital where she sadly died. Welcome to Hell is Empty. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. Julissa Brisman was from New York but visited Boston occasionally for work. She was 25 and studying to become a substance abuse counselor. But to earn some money while she was a student, she gave erotic massages. She offered these services on Craigslist, which is a website for classified ads where people can post apartments for rent, jobs, second-hand furniture, goods and services, anything you can think of. In 2009, Craigslist was one of the top websites with 47 million unique visitors a month in the US. It was a popular place for people to post personal ads, people seeking friendships, romantic connections, or sex. It also had an adult services section, which was removed in September 2010. When Julissa arrived in Boston, she asked her friend Beth to post an ad on Craigslist for her in the adult services section. The ad stated that Julissa would only be in town for a few days. If someone answers the ad, they would be in contact with Beth, and Beth would tell Julissa when the client was on the way, and Julissa would contact Beth once he had left. It worked as a security system for Julissa. She had booked 9 clients between April 13th and April 14th, and a man named Andy would be her final client. Andy answered the ad and arranged to meet Julissa at 10 p.m. on April 14th. At 9:45 p.m., Andy called the number on the ad and Beth told him to go to room 2034 at the Copley Marriott Hotel. She texted Julissa that he would be there shortly and asked her to text her once he'd left, but she never did. Beth would never speak to Julissa again. Other hotel guests heard screams coming from a room down the hall. They called security to find out what was going on. Security arrived on the floor and found a disturbing scene. Julissa was unconscious and bloody, lying in the doorway of her room. She had a zip tie around one wrist and had been shot 3 times. She also suffered a fractured skull from being hit with a gun. At 10:10 p.m, security called 911 and an ambulance took Julissa to hospital where she died from her injuries. Police had a killer on the loose and they immediately made it their mission to catch him. They reviewed security footage of the hotel and surrounding area to find the killer. One person they saw caught their eye. At 10:06 p.m, a young blonde man wearing a baseball cap rode the escalator away from the hotel. And this person looked familiar. 4 days earlier, a masseuse named Trisha Leffler had posted an ad on Craigslist under the adult services section. The man she met up with that night at the Westin Copley Hotel, adjacent to the Marriott, tied her up and robbed her at gunpoint. She had identified a young blonde man as her attacker. The next morning, when Beth still hadn't heard from Julissa, she called the hotel to see if she had checked out. But hotel staff put her through to the police, who told her of the harrowing details. Beth knew that she had information that could help find Julissa's killer. She had Andy's messages. In fact, the information Beth provided would prove to be the most valuable piece of evidence in the case. But the police didn't yet know Andy's real name. Unfortunately, yet another woman would be attacked and robbed just days later. Cynthia Melton used Craigslist to offer lap dances, and one of her clients robbed her at gunpoint. He asked her where she kept her cash and credit cards, allegedly saying, "I'm not going to kill you, just give me the money." But the robbery was interrupted by Cynthia's husband, and the attacker fled. Julissa's friend Beth provided investigators with Andy's Craigslist messages. Every time someone posted on Craigslist, email providers and IP addresses left a digital trail visible to the site. Police used this data to trace the messages responding to the Craigslist ads back to an apartment building in Boston. So they staked out the apartment, watching to see who came and went. The young man who lived there was named Phillip Markoff. He was a blonde-haired, all-American boy in medical school at Boston University. He had a fiancée he planned to marry in the summer. Investigators noticed that Phillip Markoff bore a striking resemblance to the man captured on camera leaving the Marriott Hotel at the time of Julissa's attack. Police kept track of Phillip, watching his every move until they decided to bring him in for questioning. On April 20th, police pulled over Phillip and his fiancée, Megan McAllister, on their way to Foxwoods, a casino in Connecticut. While Phillip was taken to the station, other officers searched his apartment, where they made a shocking discovery. They found bullets, cash, plastic ties, and women's underwear. Crucially, they also found a hard drive containing messages responding to Jalissa's Craigslist post. All of this evidence combined made it quite clear to the police that they had their killer, but they wanted a confession to nail him. During questioning, police tried to get Phillip to confess, but it's painful. They tried to get him to admit being at the hotel, but Phillip says he doesn't remember being there recently. He says he could have been, but can't recall.
There's a couple of different locations in the last few weeks, a couple of different hotels, with this image and likeliness. Tall, white guy, good-looking kid, same color hair, same frame, same structure as yourself in some of these photographs. And, just as far as justifying why you're there, we're looking for some help so we can, move forward. But you can't bring to mind any specific. Like, are you familiar with, they say, the Westin Hotel?
Which one, the Westin?
Yeah, the Westin.
I think I've heard of it. I think my brother stayed there.
Okay. Do you know when he may have stayed there?
Oh, it was a while ago, maybe a year ago or so.
Was there any reason or anything at all to cause you to have been there in the last couple of weeks?
I mean, maybe if I was walking through it.
Yeah. Well, can you call something to mind, Phillip? What would have brought you in there to walk through it?
I'm not sure.
You can place the Westin. Can you picture the Westin now? Can you picture where it is? Strategically.
It's been like it's next to the Prudential Center, isn't it?
Yes. Well, if you're looking at the Prudential Center and the Cheesecake, say if you walked up Huntington Ave on the outside, the Cheesecake is on the left-hand side, and then moving forward straight inbound, the Westin would be up on your right-hand side. Can you picture it?
I guess. It sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I think it connects to the Prudential Center.
Yeah, well,
because I think when my brother was staying there, I walked back and forth. I think there's a connection.
Over the footbridge?
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't really remember.
Yeah, but you have no clear memory of being there in the last couple of weeks.
I don't remember. No clear memory.
All right. Now, there's another hotel down, moving closer to the Cheesecake Factory. The Marriott.
Okay.
Can you picture that at all?
Yeah, I've eaten at the bar there.
Oh, at the bar? What's the name of that place?
It's a sports bar.
Okay.
I watched a Red Sox playoff game with Yaman and Pete there.
A playoff game. So last year, was that the last time you were there?
At the bar?
Yeah.
I think so. I'm not sure.
Okay. I mean, could you have been there in the last week or two?
It's possible. I don't remember. I don't think I wasn't at Champions. I think it was Champions.
It's Champions, the name of the sports bar?
Yeah.
I mean, you were pretty sharp.
I went there with it a couple of times.
You're a pretty sharp kid, unless it's true the way it is on TV with medical students and stuff. You just flat out. I mean, it's only been a week or two. You don't have a memory of being there in the last week or so?
No, I haven't really done anything last week.
Okay, so moving away from today, the 19th, 18th, 17th, 16th, 15th, 14th.
That doesn't really help me.
It doesn't help you?
No, I'm not.
And just trying to jog your memory at all. Tell me this, were you at a bar yesterday at a hotel? The 19th?
At a hotel?
Yeah.
No.
All right. You were at a bar, but not a hotel.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
I don't think I did anything yesterday.
Okay.
Megan came home. So.
And again, I'm just trying to help you.
I was with Megan last
And
night.
just looking for an understanding as to the way these tips are coming in, and if people think that it's you or it could be you because of your likeness to these photographs.
Okay.
Just trying to help jog your memory, so to speak. Yesterday is out. You didn't do anything yesterday.
No, I was with
19th,
Megan.
18th.
I went out with Megan.
All right. Do you have a memory of where you may have gone?
Yeah, we went to. It was off 24. Route 24.
Off
next to the Olive Garden.
Off Route 24 in Braintree.
No, in Stoughton.
Stoughton. The Olive Garden. In
There was it's a weird chain. It's a chain next to the Olive Garden. Not Bugaboo Creek. It was one of those. It's a barbecue place. It was a chain.
Okay, I don't get
Olive Garden was busy.
All right, I don't get out too much either, obviously. All right, move away from the 18th. Go the day before that, the 17th.
I don't really remember what I was doing.
16th. Any
I don't remember
hotels, bars?
Where?
Anywhere. I mean, I'm just trying to help you remember.
I don't really.
Doesn't help?
No, I don't think I was at.
15th, 14th, a couple of weeks, nothing?
All the dates.
No, and again, I can understand, and for the most part, we have such hectic lifestyles, and I can only imagine what yours is like as a medical student with remember them from one day to the next. But, I mean, somebody who doesn't frequent hotels, only when parents or families in and around town, I would think that maybe you'd remember that. You'd have a reason to remember it, you know? Because I tell you something, the photographs are pretty clear as to why people would call suggesting, you know, to take a look at you. But you don't have any memory of being there in any of these places in the last couple of weeks. Is that true, or are you saying it could be possible?
I don't really remember, to be honest. I mean, I might have been there when I was at the Cheesecake Factory or something. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Well, I said I have no specific memory. I might have walked through there.
Yeah. But that's what I mean.
Like I walk through there often. I don't know specifically though.
So is there a possibility that you walked through there in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I said that.
Okay. But and I know you said that. But there should be a little bit more to it, though. What would cause you to walk through, say, the lobby of the Marriott, just to see what's happening there, to see what's going on in the bar, or?
Didn't they already answer that?
No, not really. Not really. Just a casual stroll through there.
Aren't they all? Don't you have to walk through all the hotel lobbies to get to places?
No, not
Don't they all cut through? That's what my understanding of the country.
No, not necessarily. I mean, the mall, and again, I don't.
Well, I'm not really sure then. I don't know the mall well.
Okay. All right. I mean, no specific intention or direction or destination when you're in any of those places? Just a casual stroll through the lobbies? Might explain why you were captured on a surveillance?
It could, I guess. I don't really know.
Well, tell me this. Do you have anything to do with Craigslist at all? Do you kind of like advertise or buy clothes or buy cars or do anything like that on Craigslist?
Well, I've looked at for apartments and stuff.
Do you? Just recently?
I guess I probably would glance at them. I've used Craigslist before to search for my old apartment.
To do what?
To search for my old apartment.
The one you're in now or the one prior to that?
Or I don't know if I got it off Craigslist or some other list, but when I was searching, I used it.
When was the last time you were on Craigslist?
I do not remember.
You do not remember. I mean, again, can we do that?
Was I on it 2 weeks ago, a month ago? I don't remember.
Could you have been? I mean, that's the next question.
I guess, yeah.
You know, a lot of times, Phillip, and you got to bear with me, and it might sound stupid, but, you know, a lot of times we know the answers to the questions, but it's affording you an opportunity to, you know, be completely forthright with me and just in the interest of helping to get this done.
Okay.
Helping to clear your name or to, you know, as I said, we spend an awful lot of time trying to prove you did not commit the crime, you know? So if you could work with me a little bit.
I'm trying to.
I know you are. So let me ask you that once. When do you think was the last time you may have?
I don't know.
All right. You have no idea.
I don't know.
Does that indicate that it's been that long that you just don't have a memory of it, or?
I'm not sure what that indicates. I don't.
Okay. So if I was asked you, were you on it this morning? That would be a no.
I was not on it this morning.
All right. What about yesterday?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay. All right. So, as far as that goes, now, have you had any problems that, you know, with some females lately? And I know you don't have a specific memory. Is there anything where you may have encountered a female in a hotel room and things may have gone awry?
No.
She would have been pissed off at you to call the police? And again, keep in mind, just some food for thought, Phillip, is sometimes girls call the police if they feel they've been slighted and you know, they may make stuff up to complain about something. And that's when I go back to what I said a little earlier, is there's always two sides to a story. And when you're afforded an opportunity to provide your version, that might explain things. But until we have all the pieces of the puzzle, we're kind of left with, you know, me trying to, as if I'm a dentist, trying to pull teeth or getting some information from you and attempting to jog your memory. Do you have any specific memory of having a hassle with a girl?
No.
You may have left and she was pissed off to the point where she may have wanted to call the police?
No.
Do you recall anything like that?
I just answered that 4 times.
Okay, 4 times. You're right. And again, just be patient with me. It's not easy when, you know, the way we're dealing with this, okay? Are you patient? All right. So no specific memory, no hassles with any girls whatsoever, not in the Westin Hotel? The Marriott Hotel? No problems? No problems? What does that mean?
I already answered this.
Okay, and again, because the tape doesn't pick that up, that's why I asked it once again. Is there anything that you can tell us that might help us in what I'm asking you about?
I don't think so.
You have absolutely no clue, according to you, about what's been going on in and around the city of Boston regarding women who've been assaulted, correct? No clue.
Yeah, I haven't been.
No clue. Never seen anything in the paper?
No, that's true.
That's true.
Correct.
Never seen anything in the paper, never seen anything on the news in the last couple of
No, I
days?
really don't watch the
Your
news.
girlfriend would not have brought it to your attention. Jeez, look at this. I just saw,
No, I
nothing.
don't really watch the local news.
So no conversations with anybody in your circle of travel
No.
that may have mentioned as to what's going on here, right? Is there any other reason other than just maybe I passed through? Do you have a thing, do you hook up with girls that you meet and you just don't want Megan to know about it, which is perfectly understandable. Over the years, a lot of times, guys sitting there, they want to tell a story, but they don't want to jeopardize relationships. They don't want to ruin an engagement. They don't want to end up in divorce court because they have these things for, they have a girlfriend on the side or something. So that may prevent them from being completely honest. And something like that, that's like a barrier in this business. If it's that simple, and that's what throws me off, then trust me, the thing to do is just to be honest and throw it out there and explain why this is going on. Explain why you're sitting here in the homicide unit, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There's an explanation for everything, Things happen for a reason, Phillip. I think you know that you may have been in some of these places. I think you know that. But you're just not clear as to how you want to tell me. I'm just asking you, Phillip, if you can find it in yourself to man up and step up. If that's you, that's beyond that casual stroll through the hotel, to speak to it, to speak to what might have happened, what might have went wrong. I'm going to ask you, Phillip, the first incident that I spoke to in the Westin Hotel, a girl was robbed. Did you have anything to do with that,
No.
Phillip?
Well, I just answered you.
There was a girl in a hotel room that was tied up and robbed in the Westin. That's her story. Were you in that room that night?
I didn't tie up and rob anyone.
You didn't tie up and rob anybody. Could you have been in that room and maybe somebody else did?
No.
No? Do you have an understanding of what it is I'm talking about to you when I'm asking you just to step up and
I'm listening to what you're saying. It doesn't really apply to me.
No? Okay. And
You're just telling me a story.
I'm telling you a story.
I don't have anything to add to it.
Okay, well, I'm telling you a story as if that right now, in this story, your role in this story is you're the casual stroller. Maybe.
Well, I'm not in this story. I don't know.
Well, you are in the sense that you're sitting here as the story unfolded prior to your arriving here. Your role in the story is that of maybe somebody who passed through the hotel lobby. That's your role, correct? That's maybe.
I don't know how to answer that.
Yeah, and it is. And again, it's only a scenario that I'm applying to this story as it's unfolding here. And I'm asking that if you're the guy that was more than the casual stroller, that may have been up in the room somehow, some way, some shape or form, got enticed into a room and something got ugly, maybe you have an explanation as to what might have happened up there.
I don't really know what you're talking about. And this is why I wish I had a lawyer here, because I could just be nodding along and agreeing to something that you're saying.
And that's fine.
I don't really mean that didn't happen.
And again, Phillip, you're alluding to a lawyer, and we need to, expound upon that. If you want a lawyer, we are stopping this interview right now because that's one of your rights, okay? That's a right that you have. If you are that unsure of proceeding without
Well, the way you're phrasing things, it seems like I could just be nodding or saying yes, and the way you're questioning me, I could be agreeing to anything. By saying yes or no, I don't really.
Well,
that's why I wish someone was here to tell me that by nodding my head or something, I'm agreeing to something you're saying.
No, and that's fine. And the bottom
that's why I wish I had one.
But
I don't really know who to call for a lawyer.
Well, that's fine. You know what? We're going to stop this interview because you want an attorney. That's your choice. You want an attorney. correct?
Yes, if you're just going to keep asking me the same questions over and over.
Okay, and again, it's just so you're clear, as far as you're nodding and agreeing to anything, you know what's going on. You're not agreeing or nodding to anything that you don't want to. You've understood the question so far. You've alluded to having an attorney present. So we're going to give you that, okay?
Can you get me one? Or
We'll
this is going to
make
keep
some
going on
phone
like
calls.
this?
Pardon me?
If this is going to keep going on like this, can
No,
you get
but
me
it's
one?
your choice. We can make some calls right now. If you would like an attorney to come and counsel with you this afternoon and then continue this, that's all right. We can do that. We can do that, okay?
Hold on a second, please.
Philip's fiancée Megan was also brought to the police station for questioning. It's clear she has no idea what Philip got up to in his spare time. In May 2008, Philip exchanged several messages with someone who, back then, labelled themselves as a transvestite. Using the email address sexaddict5385@yahoo.com, Philip wrote, "Hey sexy," and included explicit photos. Although they never met, Philip reached out again in January 2009, this time using a different username, but again, they didn't meet in person. It was later reported that Philip had sent messages and photos to multiple people calling themselves transvestites who posted ads on Craigslist. These ads were labelled M4T, or Men Looking for Transvestites. During Megan's questioning, police asked her about Philip's financial status. Being in medical school, Philip was $130,000 in debt from student loans. He also had a liking for gambling, and Megan said that they would go to Foxwoods Casino about once a month. They were headed there when police pulled them over. Megan explained that on these casino trips, Philip would play blackjack for a couple of hours, then they would have dinner before going up to their hotel room. He might gamble a couple of $100s, but according to Megan, gambling was just a hobby for Philip, and he didn't gamble that much money all that often. Their day-to-day living expenses were covered by Philip's student loans. Since being in medical school, he didn't have time for a job. Megan said life was tough, and they were living dollar to dollar. Megan had been looking for a job, but wasn't having any luck, so their financial situation was stressful. She said that she and Philip were together almost 24 hours a day. Philip watched his lectures online from home, so they were hardly ever apart. However, for the past month, Megan had been at home in New Jersey with her parents, leaving Philip all alone in Boston. Police tell her someone is using the computer in their home to access massage services. Megan says she frequently gets massages, about twice a month. She gets them all the time, she says, but she gets them at registered massage clinics. They ask if, when she Googles a massage therapist, she finds ads on Craigslist, but she says no, Craigslist and massages don't really go together, and she usually calls up a place to book an appointment. It was clear to police that Megan's massages and Philip's massages were completely different experiences. The detectives decide to be more specific and tell Megan that someone in her home is using their computer to message people on Craigslist and setting up dates. Megan wonders if their computer could have been hacked, but they say no, and then explain their IP address. They then show her images taken from security footage and ask her if she recognizes the person in them. She immediately says, "That looks like Phil," but he's wearing shoes that Philip doesn't own. They show her more pictures, but she's not sure if the rest are Philip. They tell her it was inside the lobby of a hotel. She guessed correctly that it was the Marriott, but asked which one. Then she said something shocking. She said her mom told her about a man going round hotels and attacking women, but Megan doesn't seem to be understanding what the police are getting at. She asks what a massage therapist has to do with killing women. The police go back and say that an email was sent from her apartment to set up an appointment with a masseuse in a hotel. The security footage images coincide with the time frame of the murder. But Megan thinks that the man in the images was probably just someone who looked like Philip. Surely there's a million guys in Boston who look like Philip, right? But Megan confirms that she was in New Jersey at the time, so Philip would have been able to go out that night without her knowing. Eventually, Megan asks what happened to the masseuse, and police tell her that in one instance there was a robbery, and in another the woman was killed. Megan finally seems to grasp what the police are getting at, and says that she doesn't think Philip would ever do something like that. She seems in disbelief that Philip could have had anything to do with it. But police say maybe the motive was financial gain. Megan says there's no way Philip would rob someone to get money. He would go to the casino if he wanted money. But Megan said he often just breaks even. By her own admission, Phillip wasn't winning big at the casino. Police knew from the start that Phillip was their guy. His digital footprint made no mistake, but they wanted to ascertain from Megan if she was an accomplice and also what Phillip's motivation might have been. Through interviewing Megan, police were able to establish that Megan was completely unaware that her fiancé was a murderer. Phillip pleaded guilty at his arraignment, and within 48 hours of being jailed, he was placed on watch after shoelace marks were found on his neck. He had tried to take his own life, not once, but twice. Initially, Megan couldn't believe he was the Craigslist killer. She defended him after his arrest, telling news outlets that her fiancé was a beautiful man inside and out, he wouldn't hurt a fly. But it wouldn't be long before she realized that he was guilty, and she called off the wedding. Exactly a day after what would have been their 1-year wedding anniversary, a deputy sheriff working in the jail noticed that Phillip hadn't moved in a while, so he did a welfare check on him. He opened the cell, walked up to Phillip, who was lying down, and pulled back the blanket that was covering him. He described the scene as a bloodbath. Phillip Markoff used his medical knowledge to take his own life. He used a standard-issue jail pen to fashion a blade. He slashed his arteries, stuffed toilet paper in his throat so he couldn't be resuscitated, and tied a plastic bag around his head. As he lay dying in his cell, he used his own blood to write a message on the wall. He wrote the words Megan and Pocket. What he meant by Pocket remains unknown, but some people think it was a pet name for himself or his fiancée. He then covered himself with the blanket. Jalissa's family were angry that Phillip had died because he evaded justice.